Hello, and welcome to Season 3 of Super Pros Bros. I'm Player 2, Eli, and with me, as always, is...
Player 1, Ike. And, Rosiah, did you know that this YouTube is on Pod, SoundCloud, and Spotify?
He just rolled with it. I did not, bro. Chacho. Are those the same places that they could...
Eichel.
Comment!
Hairs.
And subscribe?
Sure, is it?
Send help, we're broken.
Bond stonks.
the Bond's name. Name's Bond. Call Bondulance.
Ha! Oh, man. So, how good we doing?
Oh, it's not great.
Was the intro emblematic of your current health expectancy?
There's no way you can't hear it in my voice still. But I've been kind of sick all week. I picked something up at Thanksgiving. My friends who hosted are fucking bastards.
Thought I was just taking home the turkey.
Yeah, no, I got way more. Miserable. And so I've just had a fucking nasty cough and sinus congestion for a hot second, which has been no fun, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like the best.
No, emphatically no, Batman.
Sorry, I'm in a Discord and I'm testing for an upcoming Magic tournament, and a lot of the people, there's this running gag in the Discord that be like, I don't think so, Batman, and just like take these like half lilted, like almost like YouTube short TikTok equivalents of like a Joker meme, and just like make their voice a little weird and just like say it in the background, and it happens so damn often.
Excellent. But beyond that, I've been mostly sleeping it off. I was out of work a couple days and then trying to play catch up and not stab people I work with.
I hear that's a good idea if you want to still get paid in checks, not gum.
I do appreciate them giving me rubles so I can pay my rent.
Your rent's from Putin. Here you go, Mrs. Korlienko. No, I would not like any of your tea.
Yeah. And then otherwise, I've started doing my often quarterly. Now it's a little bit less than that, but all the math, because there's new Path of Exile shit coming out very soon, and looks hype as fuck.
I'm sorry, the math?
The math. Theory crafting in advance, because, you know, I gotta know. I gotta play
Nerd!
Yeah, no. Yes. Unrepentantly so, I might add. But no, it looks super cool. The mechanic they're releasing looks super cool. They're doing a huge kind of overhaul in a lot of their shit, which seems awesome, actually. Like, here, I'll give you the best example. So, without getting too far in the weeds, there's alternate qualities of gems for like the skills that you use, right? And they do some different shit. They said, nah, fuck that garbage. We're going to overhaul that system and make the gems entirely different. So here's what I mean. Normally, there's your standard raise zombie. It does what you think it does. When you raise a zombie, it follows you around. It slaps shit for you, right? Par for the course for like a necromancer. With me so far?
Huh.
He's dead.
He's dead, Jim.
He's dead. All right. They said, okay, now here's your alternative. You could summon a zombie from the sky that falls on somebody and just dies. You just fucking drop a dude from the ceiling on top of him.
It's raining men!
Yes.
Holla!
Yeah. You just fucking throw bodies at people. They literally listened to Drowning Pool and just said, We can work with this.
I've
Yeah,
got something.
yeah. So they're
I
just
am
they
inspired.
yeah they're doing some wild shit, and they're doing it with like 100 of the skills. So I'm excited. I'm curious what fucking nonsense, buku, batshit bullshit they have cooked up.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
So that's Om Nom Gnawing your next weekend, I'm assuming.
oh god, yes. Oh, oh my, yes.
That
I can't do a good Farnsworth impression right now.
was pretty good.
What about you?
uh been what have I been doing? Uh getting lots of good conversations in with mental health professionals and our dad who is now retired, so he has to listen. But in all seriousness, has been very helpful in just letting me get the poison that's inside of my noggin out. It's great. A lot of self-realizations and progression as a character. I'm leveling up slowly but surely. Um, other than that, been practicing playtesting, theory crafting for the upcoming regional championship that I
Ooh,
will
it's
be
my turn.
attending in Atlanta.
Nerd.
Oh yeah. I mean, I plan on literally spending after we're done with this podcast, I am talking to a therapist because this podcast wears so heavy on my heart. And then after that, I'm literally playing Magic Online until my arms don't work, and then I'm going to sleep and hoping my arms work so I can play Magic Online literally all of Sunday. And then doing that next Saturday and maybe even next Sunday, but probably just Saturday. So putting in the hours, hoping they pay dividends.
As opposed to dividends.
Exactly. We don't dividend around here. We dividend because that's the flip reverse. However, since it is nearing the season, and when you will be hearing this, it will be the weekend prior to the weekend of New Year's Eve, because that's how our time schedule works. We decided to discuss those movies that make us think and love Christmas.
Yeah. It seems only appropriate. It's one of the few holidays that actually gets its own themed movies. That's what we're going to talk about. Most of the ones that we like and kind of why we like them and why they stick out to us.
Also, kind of weird. We were talking about doing last week a holiday episode or something like that, and then every single holiday movie we looked up was just Christmas.
Yeah, it's like there's like kind of some Halloween themed ones. There's like but everything else really does like Thanksgiving, Easter, whatever. Nah, not really.
Nope.
Halloween only kind of works because horror is a genre.
Yep. I don't think there's a lovely Halloween movie really. There's movies with
There's
Halloween
there's like
in
an
them, but
argument for Nightmare Before Christmas. Like there's an
and
argument that
yet
that
it's
is a
on this
Halloween
list.
slant tie-in. Yeah, like that's the closest you can do, and even then, I don't know if
Yeah.
I call it lovely. It's awesome, but
Yeah.
lovely is not an adjective I would ascribe to it.
That's very fair. Should we say the ones we love, and then should I go off on the ones I hate, as I'm the only
How
haterator in this
about
group, or should we go
how
the other way
about
around?
we vomit up the poison, we
All
get out
right.
on a happy note. So take it away, break out the haterade, have a drink.
All right. So first up on the go fuck yourself list, we've got Jack Frost. This movie is late 90s, early 2000s.
It's like the guy who comes back as a
Pablum.
snowman for a
That is
day.
absolutely correct. And then
Okay.
tries to be the cool dad, and it saves all the problems of him being neglectful because he was in a band. It's just fucking white person garbage. It's nothing good. It's Pablum, and yeah, do better. It's the least offensive on this list, but you can do better. Don't watch it. Don't think, oh, it's good. It's not good. Don't watch it. Uh, Hopefully you end up watching the horror movie one, although that one is really aged poorly. Has got some just truly whoa scenes, even for a horror movie. So Jack Frost, as a general rule, just dodge. Next up, we have National Lampoon's holiday extravaganza, blah blah. I didn't look up the rest of the name because fuck National Lampoon and fuck Chevy Chase. He is a relic of a different time. That humor, at least for me, is very not funny. He's an asshole. Hilarious. It's not funny, you being an asshole, Chevy, because you turns out you're an asshole everywhere, and also I don't know. There's no
Also, just
redeemable quality. I don't want you to win. You suck. You're,
make
you're
you. Sorry, quick point of clarity for me.
uh,
Um, that National Lampoon's like that's where he's like the giant monologue about what a twat his boss is or
that is
something.
correct.
Okay.
And while cathartic, and I totally understand for people who have shit bosses that moment, the rest of the movie is just him trying to not be an asshole, but kind of being an asshole, and then like losing it on his in-laws who are annoying as shit. It's just bad people around bad people. It's not there's no all the characters suck for different reasons. It's not fun. Please don't die. And yeah, just I mean, if you want to relive this like the 80s or whatever when that movie was made, I guess live your best life, but nah, man, it blows. And last on the go, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just laughing. Just man, it blows.
And last on the go fuck yourself wagon is Love Actually. I have yelled about this movie before, and I'm gonna do it again. Fuck that movie. It fucking sucks. It has too many storylines. All the storylines are garbage. One of which involves a best man basically trying to cheat with the wife of his, you know, now married friend with like fucking handwritten letters. Like okay, so the scene is Andrew Lincoln, who goes on to be what's his face and Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead, who I didn't realize was British,
Yeah.
is the best man to Antoine Ejiofor. I know I'm messing that name up. I'm sorry. I love you. You're one of my favorite actors. And he marries Keira Knightley. He then comes to her house on Christmas Eve
Naturally.
and has like a stack of like giant like 5x8 cards, and he has written out this like love letter to her, and the first one is say it's carolers, so that you know his best friend,
What?
her husband, doesn't
Oh,
know that he's talking
so
to her
it's
like this.
premeditated. It's
Oh
not.
yeah.
It's not
And then
just
goes
like
on like I
it's not I'm a
love you.
shameless romantic and I'm being crazy. It's this is premeditated and calculated.
Yeah, I'm a psycho. This is fucked. And then goes through to say how he loves her. Doesn't say he should like she should leave him, but it's fucking weird. And the way this scene ends is weird. And then there's all the other stories that are fucking hot garbage. And they just don't have any time. One of the other ones is fucking oh, I can't remember his name. It's a famous British actor. The guy that played the main character in the King's Speech. Name escapes me. Anyway, doesn't matter. Literally goes and marries his housekeeper, or falls in love with his housekeeper, even though he can't speak her language and she can't speak his. He learns her language and then goes to her country on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve to like ask her to marry him, even though they've like spoken less than 2 sentences. It's like, what the fuck? And this movie is not old. It is not old enough for it to be doing this shit. It is not cool. Fucking blow me. Them
I mean,
anybody that
that
thinks the
could be
movie's
kind of
classic doesn't
that
know
could
how to
be
spell
kind of
classic.
endearing if you give them some time to talk to each other.
Something. It's just fucking don't. That's the moral of the story. Those 3 movies, fucking don't. A movie that maybe you should watch, maybe you shouldn't. I don't know. I've never seen it. I just know that Eli has never seen it.
I actually have.
Fuck.
I mean, that still doesn't make your story any less funny.
True. So, to peer back into the Sears family Christmas experience, although I think the movie this was on was not a Christmas movie, but I could be wrong.
I don't remember.
There was some movie we had, and because we're old, it was on VHS.
It's on VHS, and it had fucking previews on the
Yeah,
film.
boy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a thing. Just on old VHSs for a long time, they had previews because you know you already bought this movie. Maybe you want to buy more movies.
Yeah.
But on whatever movie this was, there was a preview. You know, there was like 3 previews or whatever, and one of them was for A Christmas Story.
And I I could not do
There's one
the
scene.
I could not do the kid getting his tongue stuck to a telephone pole. It
So
just
there's this
just
scene in
oh,
the movie
oh.
in A Christmas Story wherein kids like, I dare you, I double dog dare you, I triple dog dare you. And so the kid has to, like, because he lost the bet and something, he sticks his tongue to a frozen telephone pole, can't get it off. He goes, ah, ah! Poor, poor young
This is the
Eli.
scariest thing young Eli had ever goddamn seen.
Literally would run screaming from our living room anytime this was on the TV, much to me and my father's hilarity and my mom's horror. To the point where, at least on one occasion, my mom sent my brother to do a trivial task so she could lovingly fast forward through that trailer, much to my dad's annoyance, because our dad's a son of a bitch wanted to see his son freak out over this stupid commercial.
Yo, his dad could be a bastard.
Good times.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I've seen that movie now. That movie's really not that good, by the way.
Oh, really?
It's really mediocre. I don't know what the hype is about it.
I think it's just like probably timing, because it really is it is about an era, right?
Sure.
Like it very much encapsulates, I'm assuming, late 70s, early 80s, or just 80s, like kind of
Sure.
Christmas wow, why can't I think of the right word? Suburban culture.
Okay. I could see that. Like it's just kind of an odd series of weird anecdotes, essentially.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
white Americans love nostalgia. Actually, I think the movie's supposed to be set in the 50s now that I think about it, or something like that. That kind of
Yeah.
perfect Americana time, or it wasn't perfect, but we'd like to pretend it was.
People love rose tinted glasses.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Speaking of rose tinted, what you got for the first entry on our Christmas movie recommends list?
We've got the classic of capitalism versus claws. It's Miracle on 34th Street.
Is that what the case is? Or is it Macy's?
No, it's not. But I just like that joke.
No, that's great. Capitalism versus claws.
Miracle on 34th Street. It's I don't know. It's a classic for a number of reasons, and I think one of the reasons that I really like, I should mention, the one that I really remember is like the one that came out in like '95 or something.
Yeah, it's the one with this guy from Jurassic Park.
Oh, is it the same guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll look this up. Continue.
thanks. And I appreciate like
Richard Attenborough. Yeah.
okay, and is it the same girl who played Matilda?
Yep.
Okay, like I appreciated that one of the main characters is super skeptical of Santa Claus, like, and that there's a lot of pushback, even though he is genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated that there's a portrayal of like a modern portrayal of Santa that isn't so otherworldly, but he's just genuinely nice.
Yeah, just a good guy.
Yeah, he's just a good guy, and he's not perfect. Like he can be offended and angry.
Yeah, he can assault a man with a cane.
Yeah, he could like swing a cane at a dude because the dude's being a fucking uproarious asshole.
Being an alcoholic and ruining his visage.
Yeah, like hey, he could be offended at the perversion of his own image because he knows what he's supposed to represent, and he hates how it's twisted by corporate greed. Because he refuses to be greedy because it's about happiness. That's his job. Like,
which then did inspire. I'm very curious in which version this was made, because the practice that so in the movie there is a scene where he tells a mom where to get a present for cheaper.
Yeah, like because the kid wants a toy and it's like $35.
Yeah, she's like, can you offer a different toy that thing's really expensive here? And he goes, oh well, if you go down here it's like
28.
Yeah, she's like, what? He's like, yeah, you can just go down there. It's like $28 or whatever. So
I
I
also kind of
wonder if
dig.
that then, because there's like a lot of stores do that metaphorically in price matching. Like if you go to Best Buy, where I worked for not very long, uh, you can, if you can show them a listing on anything other than eBay where it is ostensibly like one purchase could be, as its own kind of existence. But if
Mhm.
there's any store that is selling it consistently at said price, even if it's, just a sale or whatever like that, they will match it if it's the exact same item.
Yeah,
So I wonder if that's where that idea came from, or if that's where they got that idea. But it's very cool and very on brand for the
yeah.
character.
I also dig that like the I forget the woman's name. She's like revolted at the idea of sending people other places. Like her manager's like, oh, this is great. We just
Joy
get to tell
Walker,
people we
yeah,
care that much.
yeah, exactly.
He like just rolls with it. It's like, I mean, it's a little shyisty, but also, eh,
I mean, it's actually, I think it's kind of beautiful, especially for that situation, because like everybody gets to win. The
yeah.
big boss gets to look like really smart and like
And like, I
good.
mean, there's also one of those things where it's like, if you're getting PR for actually doing something good and you're actually doing something good, you deserve this.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it's like you're doing. I mean, even if you're doing the right thing, maybe for a little bit of like glorification, you are a company. You do want to make money. I kind of get it, but
yeah,
like, I don't know. It's just it's a very good feel good movie. It's like it's just good. Like the kind of character chemistry is very charming. I'm also just a sucker for the actress who plays Matilda. Like
yep.
every childhood role she's ever in, I'm like, yes. I mean, like Miss Doubtfire, awesome. Although she plays like a very trivial role.
Yeah,
But I think everything that girl's a child in, I like. So I'm
yes.
biased, but
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire, A Miracle on 44th Street, or blah, blah, Miracle on 34th Street, Matilda. It's pretty much it. She kind of intentionally like left Hollywood. Like she's done some mild stuff recently, but has really not done. Oh, she was in BoJack. I didn't know that.
who's in BoJack?
Jill Pill.
Oh, wait, no, it's not who I'm thinking of. Never mind. I thought it was someone else like a way
We
more
probably
important.
are not going to recognize her voice because when she was in all those movies that we love, it was the early to mid '90s, and then BoJack came out like 2010s.
Yeah.
Either which
What do
way,
you got on the first
you're
list?
talking about lovely feel good movies, and so how can I not follow that up with Die Hard? Yippee ki yay, motherfucker! So,
Kayak, other buckets.
hippie by day, mother trunkets. Uh, so I don't remember what year as we started watching it, but I remember seeing a thing or something, kind of falling for that like Facebook pablum of like Die Hard's Christmas movie, and I was like, you know what? I haven't seen that movie in a while. Christmas is coming up. Fuck yeah! And we started watching it, and we've watched it nearly every single Christmas since. I think it's been probably the better part of like half a decade, maybe
I'd
more.
say probably 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's been a strong minute. And actually, it's got to be more than that, right? Because I remember doing it at the Sparks house, and mom and dad are just moving back there after like 5 years. So it's got to be like six.
Hmm.
Any which way, doesn't much matter. We have a family tradition of this movie and one other on this list. You'll hear and know which
You'll
one it
hear
is.
later.
Yeah, News at 11. Uh, but we watch them every year as religiously as one can. And Die
It's just a
Hard,
ritual.
yeah,
It just has to happen.
it's got to happen. It's not Christmas until I watch Hans Gruber terrifyingly fall from Nakatomi Plaza. Which, fun fact, he did not like that is true terror on
Alan Rickman's face.
Alan Rickman's face. because they did the classic, all right, it's going to be on 3 and 1 drop. And then like they just like they set him up and they're like, go. He's like, ha! And it's just like true, just like shock and surprise.
Outstanding.
It's fantastic. It's a good one. If you're into action movies, I would highly recommend it. If you guys aren't into action movies, obviously it's a dodge because, you know, it's a quintessential action movie, but it's a great action movie to watch on Christmas. It's got all the kind of vibes, scenery, and themery that is Christmas. And yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. You get to watch him walk around with a machine gun and kill people.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, really, hold on. One more fun fact while I'm talking about Die Hard, because I don't get to talk about it often enough, is
thanks,
that
Peralta.
nice. After the movie was made, the writer director, whose name escapes me, was contacted by the FBI asking him how they knew their terrorist response protocol. He's like, what are you talking about? They're like, no, this is like word for word what we would do. He's like, oh, I just did what would make sense. It was just like, whoops. Just like it tripped onto the secrets of the inner society.
Like, oh shit, turns out common sense goes a long ways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like common sense. He like troubleshot it in his head, but you know, he like thought through, okay, so if this, then that, okay, so therefore they would, and you know, kind of just like went one level deeper than, you know, go average response. Okay, smart criminal is going to do, you know, smart criminal terrorist is going to go one shot below. So you got to beat him, and that's where you go.
Mm.
And so that's, you know, how he had it constructed. And then he has the criminals be super smart and know that that's where they're going to go, and, you know, kind of utilize that, which is awesome. But it's like, it's fascinating. Like, whoops, guess the right answer.
Interesting. Good for me.
Anyway, sorry, Stephanie. What you got next on the old Christmas movie tree?
Another classic and one of the better movies I remember Tim Allen in is the Santa Claus. I should add the OG one. The second one is okay. They quickly get bad. And there's like 5. That franchise got milked. But the original Santa Claus is fucking great.
Oh yeah.
It's got the right amount of like dumb quotable quippy humor that I fucking love. Like
peak 90s Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Just at his ho 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 best.
Like I love that the Santa Claus is like a legal and binding clause that's like hidden in the sneakiest fashion on a fucking business card.
Yeah.
Like everything about the first night of him being Santa Claus and begrudgingly like invading someone's house, being annoyed at everyone. Outstanding.
Yeah, he like the only reason he's doing it is to like hopefully go home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
he's
in the
not
morning,
like...
I'm getting a CAT scan.
He literally like they go to the next house and he tries to get the reindeer to go and they're like, no. He's like, shit. He like picks up what he thinks is an empty sack and now it's full and
just starts stuffing it again. He's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it just starts going. He's like, shit. Like,
you're supposed to drink the milk. Or like when he pulls out like a canoe and like it like knocks over the Christmas tree.
Yeah. My favorite scene that I'm just now remembering is when he doesn't know that he's turning into Santa, but he is. But it's like it's not on the top of his brain. He comes back to work and he's gained all this weight because Santa. And his coworker's like, whoa. He's just like, it's fine.
I got stung by a bee. Allergic reaction swelled up.
Yeah.
He orders 7 desserts.
Yeah. But the work meeting where they're doing this Santa thing, and it's like a Santa tank, and he goes off on this. I'll see if I can find it, but he
I
goes
hope you've
off.
been good, kids.
It's got a panzer.
Name Chris Kringle. Anyways,
Yeah,
what is
this will be put. I found it. This will be put in the show notes. You too can enjoy one of our favorite Christmas Hollywood highlights.
yeah, it's just, the movie bangs. It's just great. I don't
Yeah.
love what that series morphed into, but
Oh god, no.
the first one, oh,
Yeah.
magnifique.
Very much a great idea that works perfectly once because of its novelty, but
Yeah,
not in repetition because it doesn't have staying power. The oomph of the
yeah,
initial movie is based off of the like, huh, that's I hadn't thought of that. That's kind of neat.
that and seeing someone change into Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And
The one of the cool scenes, especially considering when it was shot, I'm like very certain the scene where his beard just kind of goes thump, like he shaves, dyes his hair red, and it just goes all the way back out to white and beard. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure is them doing a time lapse of adding like beard prosthetics.
hmm.
I'm like pretty damn sure that would be the way you would have done it back then. And so it would have been him standing very still
And then
and
just
professionals
repeatedly walking in, adding stuff,
adding
frame.
tiny amounts of hair,
Yeah.
frame, rinse, repeat. Yeah, it would have been doing that for like probably an afternoon or something
Hmm.
like something to that equivalent. Like, all right, go and stand complete. Basically be a mannequin, Tim. Okay, and just stand still. We're just gonna move as fast as we can, and that's probably what they did.
Hmm.
Is my guess. But either way, looks awesome.
Oh, that's not good.
I don't remember what the line is, but when he's in the doctor's office, there's something like, "Oh, it's there's some mention of a horse," and he goes, "What a fucking Clydesdale!" I don't remember the line, but it's so good.
I think it is. You're as healthy as a horse. Yeah, a Clydesdale.
Yeah, there it is.
A little weight. Does this look like a little weight?
What's your diet look like? Oh, milk and cookies. It's just like the answer, but it's also hilarious.
Well, there's the problem. Cut out the cookies.
Yeah, there's no wait. Like
Yeah,
you didn't
still
mention any vegetables.
shit. You don't even have any meat product for God's
Yeah,
sake.
you have like no. You just have the top of the food pyramid, just dairy and fats.
So it's before we just continue to quote this until we're out of movie to quote. What do you got next?
Good save. As previously mentioned, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Hot Topic has commodified the ever living shit out of that movie.
Yes.
However, I still think you can watch it without buying 80 pairs of their ripped pre-order.
I mean, if you want to, not going to shade that either.
Yeah, if that's what you're about, live your best life. But as kind of grabbed by the youthful rebellion, I guess is probably the best way to put it, of like the 2000s, of like, this is our Christmas movie, which is, I think, where it got a lot of its, long viewership.
Yeah.
It really is just good. The voice acting is fantastic. The animation was good. The story, well, kind of classic fanfare for, oh shit, man, how did I, Tim Burton. There we go. I blanked on that as we had it and it's gone. Then I got it back to Frisbee. It is still very, very good. It's also, great. Is it claymation or is it? It's not claymation, right?
I think it's claymation.
It's stop motion for sure. I don't know if it's claymation. Any which way.
I think some of it. Maybe it isn't.
Either way, It's of a relatively lost art form, sadly, at this point. It's not done very often. It's fucking expensive and time consuming is why, so that sadly makes sense. But it's still great to see that kind of art form utilized, and especially such a fun alt take, great music, good story, great characters, lessons learned. And it also gets to be a accidental genius is it gets to be a 2 holiday movie. Like if you watch that at Halloween, on point. If you watch it on Christmas, on point. It's like you just can't go wrong watching that movie.
Yeah,
Basically, kind of awesome. Yeah, just great. Got great. What is this?
it is a banger musical numbers like that. The Oogie Boogie song,
Mm,
like This Is
I'm the
Halloween.
Oogie Boogie Man. Whoa,
Ooh, easy.
love that song, man.
It's so
Banger.
it's terrific. Like most of the song, like even like I'm blanking on her name. Um,
Oh, something with Molly. That can't be right, though, is it? Uh,
Sandy.
yeah.
Is it Sandy's song? Where she's basically just opining for Jack and for him to notice her.
Looking it up. Sally.
Sally. Thank you. I'm
Mm.
ashamed. Yeah, like even Sally's song is so good. Like it's not a showstopper, but it's so heartfelt and
Mm. Yeah.
endearing. Like movie just bangs.
Yep. Got music by Danny Elfman. Written, directed by Tim Burton, or not directed by Tim Burton, but written by Tim Burton. Uh, you know,
It's it's just got great style to it. Just also why it's aged well, I think.
yeah, very much doesn't fixate itself on a time. Kind of builds its own place. It's got these inelastic themes of like wanting to belong, wanting to feel wanted, wanting for change, and yeah, just very iconic and individualistic in its own, artistic representation,
Yeah,
which just sends. Yeah, it's so good.
yeah. Arguably less of a classic and more of just dumb slapstick. I do enjoy the movie Elf. I
How can
I
you
can
not?
be a sucker for some earlier Will Ferrell comedy and how stupid it is. Because the movie is not intelligent, it's not smart, it's fucking dumb.
You know what? Sometimes
Sometimes it's
dumb
worth it.
is dumb is the best.
And for way too long, fucking whenever somebody would leave, if I was like talking with Colton or Colton's brother Christian, bye. Hope you find your dad.
uh,
Also, seeing fucking Will Ferrell call Peter Dinklage an elf just to piss him off. Oh, peak
that scene is
comedy.
so amazing.
Scene is just outrageous.
Literally, Will Ferrell just being like
Oh, you
so
have
in
elves
character.
here.
You've elves here, and just his dad, played by fucking trying to remember his name. He's in The Godfather. Why can I not? James Caan. I think his dad was James Caan, being like, "Oh, sweet God, like, please, don't pay no attention to this man." And Peter Dinklage is like, "What'd you call me?" It's this great dichotomy of a scene of you've got hapless idiot, very, torn father who's trying to be there for his son but doesn't want to be, but it feels obligated to, but is also trying to be a businessman. You got Peter Dinklage, who 1,000% in real life and in his character's life has been called that the whole time. So he's fucking over it.
Yeah, outstanding. That and just I don't know why this one always stands out to me too, but the when he shows the girl the world's best cup of coffee, and it's just some shitty little coffee stand. Basically, it's like what? It's just dumb shit. It's so weirdly endearing, and I think a decent chunk of it is it's got some nostalgia goggle on it for me, for
For sure.
sure. But it's kind of charming. And
So the scene for me like that is when he's at Gimbals and Faison Love is just like, all right, everybody, Santa's coming, and Will Ferrell's like,
Santa's
Santa, like
coming!
fucking loses his shit.
Screams.
Just you've never seen anybody so goddamn excited in your life.
Yeah.
Also, Will Ferrell's smile in that movie is insane. Like I know people who've done coke who haven't smiled that big.
Yeah.
And to
Like,
top it off, that scene where he's walking around New York City, kind of accosting people and asking them if they know where like Santa is or if they know where his dad. I'm trying to remember who he's. I think it's probably his dad.
yeah.
That's real. That was Will Ferrell in an elf suit. With those are not actors. He's just wandering around New
running at
York.
random people.
Yeah, they're just filming it live, and he's just walking around being like, "Do you know where my dad is?" And like, "Who the fuck are you?" It's
Who the fuck?
Yeah, and like all the good reactions, I think they paid for the people's like likeness afterwards or something like that.
Outstanding.
It's fucking
All right, what is next?
well, to go from one comedy of a time to another, we've got our father's favorite, and in lieu, at least mine, in Scrooged.
Bitch, hit me
Wherein
with a toaster.
bitch hit me with a toaster. Scrooged is Bill Murray's kind of comedic take on what is
Christmas Carol.
it? Christmas Carol, thank you. And kind of, messing with it, taking a new spin on it. And I think
Yeah,
it's personally
it's-
the best because Christmas Carol is
It's a
fucking
comedic modernization of A Christmas Carol.
yeah, there you go. Smart words. But for me, Christmas Carol is kind of
Played out.
it feels like I'm listening to the British equivalent of a parable.
Kind of.
It very old timey, learn from this, youngin. Like, sweet God. Whereas Scrooged is just Bill Murray getting to have a lot of fun. There's a lot of good references. There still is a good delivery at the end. And
Yeah.
it's just late 80s, early 90s romp fun. Some of it doesn't age as great. There's a couple awkward, like, if you didn't watch it then, back in the day before the world started figuring out that certain aspects of society were kind of fucked, it might leave a little bit of a. All right, so one of the things I'm making reference to is at one point, one of the characters, who's a dick, gets like, I think knocked unconscious and tied to a chair in like mistletoe or something like that, and just to like kind of get him out of the way.
Someone
And
runs at him basically, like way too excited.
well, no, at the end he's like tied in a chair and everything's going on, and some kind of horse-faced woman who's feeling it just goes over and like makes out with him even though he's tied up in a chair. It's like, yeah, that's basically sexual assault. Is it funny now? No. Was it funny then? Yes. I'm not going to say it's grandfathered in, but I remember that moment in a time where that wasn't problematic, so it doesn't bother me as much. It's still like not great. If I showed it to somebody who hadn't seen the movie, I definitely would like kind of grimace at that scene instead of laugh.
Yeah.
So that one, like moments like that are a little bit tricky. Granted, those moments are few and far between in the film, and you get to watch fucking what's that comedian's name? Bobcat Goldthwait
Yeah, you just
drunkenly yammer around a fucking edit room with a shotgun and like a fifth of liquor.
Yeah, while like singing the weirdest rendition of Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Initially starts as Santa Claus is coming to town, and then it becomes a Looney Tunes bit. And he's,
Hello, rabbit.
yeah, oh, what?
Yeah,
As he
I
blows
cannot do a
out old
Bobcat Goldthwait
TVs.
impression now or when I'm healthy. That man's voice is hard to replicate.
I just realized in looking this up, the guy that plays Jacob Marley, like the dead guy that shows up at his house, like you know, got
Yeah,
rats and shit crawling out of him.
yeah.
Jamie Farr.
What is that name familiar?
That's Corporal Klinger from MASH.
What?
Yeah.
Oh
Never,
man,
ever would have guessed that.
not a million years.
No.
You could have given me 100 people. I ain't getting that.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got bangers like that. We got Bill Murray. We got Bobcat Goldthwait. We
This
got Robert Mitchum playing the most like reined in role of his career as just a guy that like, you know, an executive. We've got
paying us their salaries, you jackass.
nice. Carol Kane is the ghost of Christmas Present, aka that bitch that hit him with the toaster. Uh,
It's
Buddy
priceless.
Hackett as the on-screen Scrooge. It's just bangers. This is great, and it's just Bill Murray just tearing up the scenery.
Yeah.
Also, that movie at the beginning, it's one of my favorite like creative caveats. Is it's a guy saving Santa Claus with like some Navy SEAL goes to save Santa, and, like either Santa or Mrs. Claus are like, "You've been a good boy." I'll see if I can find that one and tag it too. It's so stupid.
It's so corny.
So, bro, moving from one iconic 80s comedy Christmas movie to another, what you got?
What is Christmas without the slapstick of Home Alone?
Ah! Sorry, I can't quite do it as well as Macaulay
No,
did.
because you have been through puberty.
Also that.
Yeah,
Speaking of Macaulay for a moment though, do you see that he got his star yesterday?
no.
Yeah. We're recording this on the 2nd of December. I think on December 1st they gave him his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Aw.
That's kind of sweet. Anyway,
yeah, Home Alone is the other one that every year, and this one has been going on forever.
this one's been a minute, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've been doing it since I was like 6.
No, I don't think so. I had to buy it.
Okay. I mean,
So
I remember doing
it's
it
been happening
like
for a minute, for sure.
I remember doing it like for sure by the time I was 10.
Okay.
Like, because we'd wake up fucking early as shit. Cause
Oh, you know, you're absolutely right. I'm
yeah.
we've been this forever.
Because we'd wake up early as shit on Thanksgiving morning. We'd watch it before breakfast.
Christmas, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Because it's like it was the one day of the year that Dad would sleep in, and nothing was allowed to happen until that bastard woke up, and you didn't dare touch him because he'd been preaching on Christmas Eve. That's how he was in a coma. And God help you if you touched him, you would die. So we'd wake up and watch Home Alone. And I'm gonna tell you, never gets old.
No.
Like I know everything's gonna happen in that movie. Worth it. I love seeing Marv and Harry get the absolute piss beat out of them every time. Like there is still no scream in cinema as perfect.
No, that one's
That is the most genuine scream I think I've ever heard in my life, let alone in a movie. Like that is not acting at a certain point. That is genuine arachnophobia coming
Daniel
to the
Stern
forefront.
is scared for his life.
Yeah, that man is traumatized. I like to believe he probably actually just hit Joe Pesci with a crowbar afterward to try and get rid of that spider. Like, and that Joe Pesci is not like acting that space, just actually fucking pissed because he now has a cracked rib. But just the slapstick in that movie, the dumb comedy is just great. Like it doesn't try to be much more than it is than just a very goofy slapstick. and it just has some great little one liner quips too, um, and some oddly sincere kind of character moments between um, McCulkin's character and the old guy with the shovel. Just blanked on his name. Um,
That would be Marley. Robert, played by Roberts Blossom.
yeah, old man Marley.
Yeah.
Um, like so, it's just fun. Like it's just goofy slapstick nonsense fun. Like Marv, why are your shoes off? Why are you dressed like a chicken? Like
So one of my favorites, I went to look up because I knew we were gonna like we've been talking about like actors' names and stuff like that, so I'm trying to get ahead of the ball on this one. Went to IMDb. They have this thing that's going across the top of the screen where usually they have like a trailer for it. This one they were showing trivia. Interestingly enough, that scene with uh Marv when he's screaming for his life in front of that spider, that's added in post. He had to mime the scream so as to not scare the tarantula. Kind of awesome.
it's yeah, okay. Is that actually him? That's actually him screaming, though, right?
I don't know. Okay, Daniel Stern, the other baddie, agreed to have the tarantula put on his face for exactly one take. Had to mime the scream because the noise would have scared the spider, and the scream was dubbed in later. I'm assuming.
Until I hear it proven otherwise, I'm assuming that is his scream.
Yeah. Oh, wait, what? Hold on. I've got disparaging and awesome news. Okay, so all right. Little bits of trivia. Christopher Columbus just let Daniel Stern keep acting the part out, never called cut. So as it keeps getting higher pitch and more ridiculous, Nick's expressions have changed. So some of the overacting is because Daniel Stern is waiting for Christopher Columbus to say cut, and like he just didn't. I something there was something on here about the scream not being his. Uh, so God damn it. Okay. So actually, it's not his scream specifically. Fun fact: it's actually a mix of several sounds. Daniel Stern screaming, as well as a red-tailed hawk screeching, an ambulance siren, and a pitched-up edit of the Wilhelm scream to make that. So it's a four-parter. There's an ambulance siren in the mix.
There's a hawk
That's
scream in there.
amazing. The hawk scream I can kind of get to hit like some of that, and same with a pitched up Wilhelm. Like the pitched up Wilhelm I can actually hear now that I think about it. The ambulance siren is like, where is that in the mix? That is wild. Never heard of a four-part sound mix for something so that is such a like normal sound.
You know what? Worth it.
Oh,
Every
Bang
bit of
City.
it. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is next?
Yeah, before we gild the lily too much.
Yeah. So we could go on that one way too long too.
So I love this is going to be a two-parter because you can't really say one without saying the other for me at least.
Sure.
I love The Grinch, the original cartoon from I think like the 70s or something like that.
Something like that.
Now I want to
So
look it up.
who's down in Whoville?
Sure. 1966.
Yeah.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Holy shit. It's an awesome one, especially when you realize that it's narrated by Boris Karloff. Which, if you don't know, Boris Karloff is known for like monster movies of like the fucking hell and back. He was the monster in The Bride of Frankenstein. He was the Mummy. He was, it just everything. If you go back in time, he is the movie villain in every monster movie, and sounds it and looks it. Guy's a banger. So he voiced the narrator, which is one of the most interesting and iconic narrators of all time, is having this guy who's done the voice of every monster throughout history to then read a, is the Grinch a Dr. Seuss
Yeah.
book and make it kind of lovely, as well as, on brand with it being about the Grinch.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, because I do love that one, you also have the Grinch with the live action Grinch with Jim Carrey, which, there's some things that you think there's no way they can do this live action, and then they do.
But
that movie is going to
life
stand.
finds a way.
Yeah. That movie for me, it just like shows that with enough ingenuity, money, and know-how, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And especially with enough cigarettes. So those of you that don't know, Jim Carrey did the movie and was having a hell of a time staying in suit, because it was an 8-hour process of just basically gluing yak hair that had been spray painted green to his skin. Basically torture for 8 hours, and then his body is like fighting to breathe, because it turns out your skin needs to breathe. And so he's sitting there fighting, and so he was like, I'm gonna quit this movie. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. And the director, lead producer, was like, hold on, let's try one thing for me, okay? And then if you can't do it, you can't do it. He's like, fine, fucking whatever, we'll try anything. And they brought in a Navy SEAL who specialized in like basically anti-torture methods, like how to withstand torture for like spooks. And it was a bunch of little things, and the last one was, all right, if all else fails, just fucking chain smoke cartons of Marlboro. Jim Carrey's like, yeah, all right. Just like fucking. So there's pictures, if you delve far enough in the internet, with him smoking them in a Cruella de Vil-esque fucking like, huge thing, because he's wearing yak hair. You can't have flames close to spray painted yak hair.
Yeah,
that shit be flammable. Surprise, surprise. And so he would have these things, these long cigarettes, just like burning them down, cartoon style, just taking these fat rips, just crushing cartons in his brakes while filming this G-rated Disney movie.
Making childhood magical.
Yeah, just like, what are you doing, Jim? Making childhood magical. Also, probably getting his voice to be pitch perfect as well. Nice side benefit. Anywho, from one, oh, that was funny. Who's in Whoville. Well, I make myself laugh. From one classic to another, Broskinkowski, what you got up next on the docket?
My last entry for this list is It's a Wonderful Life.
It is, isn't it? Being on this podcast. Yeah. All right.
Get me out. It's as I learned, apparently it is a classic for kind of the wrong reasons. But that's not ever why I knew it. I knew it because our dad loves this movie unrepentantly. Like he will stand this movie, even though he doesn't know that term.
Yep.
But it's really charming and really human.
Yeah.
Like as much as apparently it didn't do well on release, I'm kind of shocked.
So for those of you who don't know, the reason that this movie is a classic, and like my brothers alluded to, did not do well on release, this movie is a classic because it was public domain for 50 years. Back when it was filmed, I think like the 20s, maybe like I could have been 20s. I don't know, which whenever it was filmed, didn't do well at the box office, and for whatever reason ended up, like, they cared so little about it that it ended up in public domain after a while.
Yeah.
And for the better part of 50 years, not a couple, like basically every single broadcasting channel on Christmas Day or around the Christmas holidays would play It's a Wonderful Life because it didn't cost them anything. So
Yeah.
NBC's, CBS, all these companies were like, yeah, we got this one for free. It's got,
It's
no,
free real estate.
it's free real estate. It's got, Jimmy Stewart is a, perfect American, movie star, and it's free. Let's play it. And so they did. And it was one of those things when you surround something and you hear something enough, it kind of becomes a classic. It becomes something you expect and appreciate.
Propinquity is a hell of a drug.
Exactly. So thus, It's a Wonderful Life kind of freewayed itself into being a classic.
But irrespective, the movie's still great.
Oh yeah.
Like the messaging of it and how the little things add up and really have value, and the way it takes the time. I mean, the fact that the whole movie takes like 70% of its runtime to set the stage for how important the little things are from a single person's life, to then go and show everybody, yeah, it fucking matters.
Yeah.
And the little things you don't think about matter, is so powerful. Because, like, I think everybody has a moment like George, which is
Yep.
I mean, it's very personal, but like, there for a while, I thought about like, man, maybe it's time to go play in traffic. Like, you know,
Yep.
like, and there's plenty of people that have had that thought, or at least had the thought of like, so many people would be better off without me.
Yeah.
I am a failure. I have
Yeah. I
done
don't
nothing
matter.
worthwhile with my
Yeah.
life. Whatever, whatever permutation your brain wants to spit at you. And the movie does such a good job addressing some of that. And like the thing about it is, his life is not what he wanted as a kid
Yeah.
at all. Like, he wanted to be this crazy adventurer and go to Europe, but it's like he never made it out of his hometown.
Yep.
He never leaves. And it's like, does that make his life worthless? No. It is such an impactful message, and delivered in probably the best way that you could show it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just tell it, but show it. Because you take so much time setting the stage to really feel, like, as an audience, you feel what's wrong when he doesn't exist.
Yeah. And you also can understand his plight too, of like, it really is just like a Job like occurrence every time he wants to, try and do something, even if it's going on a fucking honeymoon. The world's like, nah.
Yeah, like, having their honeymoon here. What are they, ducks? Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, he can't not do the right thing, and at times to his own detriment. And it's
Mhm.
like he's so human, and like, he can't help but feel the weight of money when it punches him in the face. Like,
Yeah.
he's very human. Like, George is so human. And even at the end, like, where his life is fucking falling apart and he's losing his shit and screaming at people, it's like, now that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, that man lost $10,000 then. Like,
Yeah.
that would be like, you just lost $150,000.
Yeah, it was because of somebody else's fuck up.
Yeah. And
But
he
he
was
has
going to
to
pay for it.
Yeah, he has to fucking deal.
Yeah. Like, that was a life demolishing amount of money that he didn't have all of a sudden.
Yep.
And it's like, no, I get it. I'd start fucking screaming at people too. Like,
Yep.
I would scream at my own goddamn family if I had that amount of money. Just fuck off. Like,
And he did.
and he does. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You're not like, well, what a fucking bastard. Just like, ooh.
Yeah. No, they do a really good job at setting it up for him to have that understandable and kind of built up moment of just exasperation. Of just being like, this is fucking bullshit. I've done everything right. I've done things that I didn't want to do because it was the right thing to do, and this is how I am treated
Yeah, this
by the
this is what
universe.
I get for it.
Yeah.
And it's just great. Like
Yeah.
solid and still holds up surprisingly well for being as old as it is.
Oh yeah.
All right, what do you got for our last one here?
To close out this list, I have something far more with far less reverence. We got the '90s banger that is "Jingle All the Way" with peak Arnold Schwarzenegger, and probably the last movie he did, Sinbad. This movie is not good, but it's just schlocky fun. It's kind of like how we talked about Scrooge, except it's considerably less timeless. It's somewhere between like Scrooge and Elf in a way, but it's just it's the people at the it's Sinbad back when he was a comedian and good, and Arnold Schwarzenegger back when he was the action guy, and they're just like
It was
doing
Arnold.
this. Yeah, exactly. And they're just doing this Christmas romp. Is it good? No. Is it fun? Hell yeah. It's just a blast. They're looking for a toy that they should have bought earlier, having some moments of, self-reflection, and then everybody ends up a winner in it enough that, you go to bed. Definitely something to turn on in the background. And like the story beats don't matter. All the action scenes are the fun ones. So you could literally probably watch this with the sound off and it's still just as good. Highly recommend, if you're having a holiday get together, to turn it on the background of something as opposed to that like Yule log nonsense.
Yeah.
And yeah, with that, choose wisely, and we'll see you guys after the commercial break.
Have you ever thought, I really, really want to be humming the same song for weeks to annoy my coworker? Well, let's go see some classic animated kids movies. Because you're surely going to be taken hostage by your 5-year-old as they repeatedly demand they've got to see it. And then deal with them lamenting how they really want all the merchandise as you're walking through the stores. And it's everywhere, isn't it? Not to mention, those songs are going to follow you home too. You're not safe. Such studios as Disney and DreamWorks printing these things, you're bound to leave with an insidious and infectious earworm that you're gonna be humming. All because your kids never stop singing it in the shower. But hey, at least the creators know you're being forced and coerced by those Lancarbiters, and they throw in some jokes just to make it bearable.
And welcome back. So, in the things to watch, if you're feeling for it, I've been watching the show Dr. Stone again. I've gotten back into it, and I forgot I enjoyed the hell out of this show. It's very strange. But it kind of, and I think kind of the reason I like it is it's a show that follows the weird. There isn't so much a villain in the show as there are problems. So it kind of does like what The Martian does, where it's just like,
here's the universe, deal with your surroundings.
Yeah, and so the whole premise of the show is that everybody gets turned to stone, and 3,700 years pass, and people
Everybody must get stoned.
Not that kind of stoned.
Damn it.
Yeah, everyone is turned into a literal living statue. And they're just stuck. And so 3,700 years go by. And so like buildings, like modern society just fucks off and it's gone. Buildings just erode to dust. And the main character is a guy named Senku, who has this like encyclopedic knowledge of pretty much anything science related. Like basically anything you can do with chemistry and physics, he kind of knows how to make it happen. Which,
seems helpful.
It's very helpful. But what I love about the show is that he cannot do it alone. Like even though he's a walking, talking miracle of like memorization, he like the progression for scientific innovation is really fucking slow. Because to start, he's a fucking scrawny, shriveled nerd who is trying to like hunt and gather, and so he can't do anything other than do that to live. Like he needs muscle. And like eventually as progression tries to go, he needs tools, and he can't make tools because he's not a fucking craftsman. So he needs to find a craftsman to help him. And you know, he needs to try, like there are other people, because like astronauts come back and they kind of leave behind like little pockets of civilization, essentially. Not civilization, like very, very basic, like people living in villages, basically from the Stone Age. And he has to get like help from them because he needs more manpower. And so he needs someone who can manipulate people socially. So he has to find like someone who knows psychology and could fuck with people. Like there is so much value beyond just raw information. And like while that is incredibly potent and powerful, that is not everything. Far from it. It's I really like that, and I like when shows will give side characters value, even if they're kind of simple characters. Like, and that they're, despite the whole like, you know, brawn versus brain, it's like, yeah, brawn is still really fucking important, strangely enough.
You need the muscle.
What?
You said brawn's important. I said you need the muscle.
Yes. So yeah, it's like the show's not great in many ways. Like it's kind of weird and overacted, and the action scenes are kind of goofy, but it's got its own distinct charm to it that I enjoy. So
hell yeah. So this last week I watched the Shane Gillis stand-up comedy special on Netflix called Beautiful Dogs. I cannot recommend this person enough, especially if you don't take life and its, in quote, necessary stances at like face value. So much of what Shane Gillis does is kind of play to the middle, which is awesome. So I feel like most comedians kind of lean left, which isn't a bad thing. I lean left too, but as far as representation and joke topics and stances go, it's always nice to mix it up. And Shane Gillis does this really good job of playing with that feeling of, well, it's, you know, we got to do this. He's like, says who? He has a shit ton of jokes playing with and around Down syndrome, but not in a way that's pointing fun at Down syndrome, but rather pointing at the fact that the way we treat Down syndrome, which I think is really cool. Like he's got family members that have Down syndrome and talks about his experiences with them and how the way we treat Down syndrome is kind of just wrong. Just we're like, oh God, are they okay? He's like, they're doing great. Like don't worry about them. They're fine. In fact, they're better than you are. They're the people that I think the line is, they're the only people I know that are consistently having a good time. Just like, yeah, he's not wrong. Been around people with Downs. They are usually living their best life. They're not out here like having mental breakdowns about what kind of pizza they needed to get or if they got a raise. They're like, chicken parm, hell yeah! Like, there's this great joke, and again, like, you know, I don't know if it's in the special or a different one, but he talks about how people with autism are like cats. Never know if they like you. They're always kind of skittish. They don't like being touched. It's like people with Down syndrome are dogs. You ever ask somebody with Down syndrome if they want to go for a walk? They're fucking about it. It's like, fucking nailed it. It's fucking hilarious. Is he making fun of them? No, he is just pointing out an observation in his experience. And also in my experience, dead on. Fucking hilarious. It's great comedy. Big fan. Highly recommend.
Do you have any musical recommendations you want to leave the people with? Or?
So my roommate the other day, I am my awesome tinderbox of a room is located in between the kitchen and the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
And all of my roommates like to shower while playing the best hits on their iPhone.
Sure.
And this
As
last
you do.
week, as you do, I do it too. But they don't have to hear mine as much as I have to hear theirs, so fuck them. But the other week, my roommate was just blasting Tenacious D, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this stuff kicks ass." I haven't remembered this since I was in high school, and I went back and listened to like their whole catalog, and I was like, "Yeah, their original album is just fucking cracked. The whole entire thing is just bangers." So, highly recommend listening to Tenacious D's first album, which I believe is self-titled, and just reliving like late 90s, early 2000s, enjoying the hell out of yourself. It's so damn good.
Well, I think that is going to be our show. So, everyone, thank you for tuning in. And if you enjoyed it, please feel free to
Like,
comment,
share,
and subscribe.
but don't forget, a new episode of Super Pros Bros comes out the first and third Saturday of every month.
Bye.
And have a happy Christmas.